Well, we have a really exciting theme: creating career pathways for customer service professionals. Customer service professionals, they don't get a lot of love a lot of times. In fact, a lot of times they get the brunt of the hard. But we're going to talk about creating career pathways for customer service professionals. We're sponsored today by our good friends at Bank of America, and we're joined by three great leaders of Bank of America. We have Tabitha Caleb with us, we have Angel Robinson with us, and we have Michelle Sorrells with us. So what we're going to begin, as everybody's kind of joining, I just want to say hello to Teresa from Brooklyn. Great to have you in the house. I love my Brooklyn people. First, I'm going to ask each one of you, take a quick minute, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit maybe about yourself, a little bit about your personal, and then we're going to really dig in. We're going to start with you, Angel.
Sorry. Hey, guys. Again, I am Angel Robinson, originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Currently in Texas, of course, working for Bank of America. A little bit about myself. So I have two very sweet nieces, Madison and Taylor. Started first in pre-K, respectively, this year. I enjoy traveling, um, reading, of course, and binge watching Grey's Anatomy. Did I say traveling already? Definitely enjoy traveling, but yeah, so reading, traveling, binge watching Grey's Anatomy, and then currently I am a senior client service advocate with Bank of America Home Loans Market Servicing Department. Um, and I mean, typically just come in and I have to be available, for our associates in the contact center, just day-to-day operations, make sure, if there's any escalations, things of that nature, I take over those. And then, just making sure everything runs smoothly on our team or what have you. But it's great to be here. I'm really happy to, be able to be a part of this.
Oops, there we go. We're all going to do it at least once when we start talking with a mute on. I got mine out of the way right away. Thank you so much, Tabitha. You mind introducing yourself?
Absolutely. And hello, everyone. Super excited to be here. So again, my name is Tabitha Califf. I'm currently a business support manager. In my current role, I help support the operations of the executive response and we can deliver teams. My team's primary function is to respond to consumer client escalations that have reached the executive level up to the CEO. The We Can Deliver side of my team also responds to servicing submissions that are submitted by our internal teammates to help support their family and friends. From a personal side, I currently reside in Tampa, Florida. I am a Florida native. Florida true and true, went to the University of Florida, so go Gators for my Florida people in here. Yes. So I enjoy spending time with my two dogs, Foxy and Mayberry on the side, and I am currently expecting my first child in January, so that'll be a huge transition for me, but super excited to be here.
Congratulations, Tabitha.
Thank you.
Michelle, we'd love to get to know you.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity inviting me here. Again, my name is Michelle Sorrells. I live in Wilmington, Delaware. I will tell you, I have two kids. There are 18 and 15-year-old boy and a girl, and I can't believe my oldest is actually getting ready to graduate from high school, and I can't believe I said he's 18. He actually turns 18 on Friday. I also have two wonderful dogs, and I'm sorry they're in the office with me at home, and I'm thinking they're going to bark at any minute. So if I mute you, I apologize. But Duke and Coco are two rescues that my husband and our family rescued a couple of years ago, brother and sister from the same litter off of the street. So I have them two in here with me, and hopefully they will be good and patient. But I love them just like they were my children. At the bank here, I actually just celebrated 25 years at Bank of America. My job responsibilities today are I'm the lead for small business servicing. I'm the business control manager. And what that means is anything from a customer service center related, if there's anything that is regulatory, policy, any type of work as it relates to issues, myself and my team actually respond to those and work through those. So we really actively look for opportunities where things might not be going the right way. When we identify and we work through how to fix them and then get them back out to the agents to make sure that they can use it in their day-to-day conversations that they have with the clients.
Well, congratulations as well. This is fantastic. Great to meet everybody. We're going to dive right in. Before I do, one thing to clarify, I made a mistake. There's no Q&A button. Silly me. It's all just comments and chats and questions. So anything you want to say, including questions you want these three wonderful women to answer, put it in the comments. We'll get to the questions as we go along. Let's jump in. Okay, so we've been working for Bank of America, some of us for quite some time. When you joined, what did you expect? I'd like to hear from Tabitha first, and then Angel, and then Michelle. I'll let you sum up, all right?
Absolutely. Love to go first. So when I joined Bank of America in the customer service contact center, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I had came from the food service industry, so it was a completely different change for me. So I really didn't set any expectations. But I had heard some rumors of the different rigor that comes from working in a contact center environment. And my initial thought was that this was just really going to be a job while I was going to school and finishing out my bachelor's degree. It was just a contact center customer service. But I was really immediately surprised at the level of detail that really went into the training of the contact centers in Bank of America. So they really set you up for success to make sure you're prepared to take those calls. But it continued on from that. There were a lot of other leadership courses, and the training just never stopped. It always continued. So I truly felt supported and well equipped to continue with my career and continue to expand on my knowledge of the banking industry. And 7 years and 5 promotions later, what really started out as just something that was just going to be a college job that I had no idea what I was going to do afterwards really turned into way more than I expected, and ultimately has turned into a lifelong career of something that I want to continue growing for and remaining with for hopefully another 30 years or so.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. We're going to definitely want to dig in a little bit at 7 years and 5 promotions. How about you?
So I started back in May of last year, right? I applied actually for credit card servicing. So to my surprise, about a week prior to training, HR recruiter called and said, "Hey, we're actually going to move your whole class over to home loan servicing." Okay, I know nothing about mortgage servicing whatsoever. I never worked with a mortgage, never worked with a home equity line of credit other than, personal mortgages and, your own, what have you. So didn't know anything about servicing. So expected to come in, just basically servicing existing and new clients with credit cards. Well, to my surprise, a lot of training on home loans, so mortgage servicing and things of that nature. And just to piggyback off of what Tabitha said, it is a lot of training, a lot of information, and it's well worth it because, again, for myself, never serviced a mortgage before, never been in real estate or anything like that. Definitely was, kind of shaky, like, am I sure I want to do this? Is this going to work out? Things of that nature. But I can guarantee you that going through training, having the support of different leaders, not only, those trainers, but once you do get on the floor in the contact center, just having that support of, your team manager, other managers, and then those other SCAs, it definitely eased my, worries and, concern about being in the mortgage servicing department. And, again, been here for, I would say 16 months now in the mortgage servicing, and here I am now, striving and reaching, those goals that I've set forth for myself. So
That's incredible. I love these contrasting experiences. Tell us about yours, Michelle.
Yeah, so I think I said earlier, I started here 25 years ago, and I too started on the phones as an agent, credit card servicing, actually servicing our Spanish clients. And I too, just like Tabitha, thought, like, Mom, I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to do it for like maybe 6 or 8 months until I could go. I'm a teacher actually by trade. And so I was waiting to go through for the fall semester. And once I got here, I absolutely saw that there's so much beyond just being on the telephone talking to agents. There is absolutely career progression if you like what you do and you're good at what you do and you show those leadership abilities. For me, again, I went to school to be a teacher. So as soon as I came in, was definitely very impressed with the level of training that you get. And I said, wow, like I could do that. Like I could be a trainer here and I could train agents on how to, facilitate calls with clients. So first that was my one goal. And then I just kind of kept going through as my career progression. And, the opportunities at Bank of America, honestly, are endless. If you have, the ability and you have the right drive to be able to continue and grow your career, your world is really endless here. So it's funny that Tabitha and I kind of shared like, oh, well, I was thinking it's a short-term gig, not necessarily career. Here I am 25 years later and I'm still here. And I just recently transitioned back into the contact center. So for the first 5 years of my career, I was in the contact center. Then I moved out to support other areas and actually just came back. It's actually a year ago today that I'm back in supporting the contact centers, kind of where I began.
This is fantastic. I mean, as different as your stories are, there's so many similarities in your experiences. And we're already hearing a little bit about how Bank of America has been supporting you as you've all been developing your career. Let's take a little bit more. Let's get some more specific examples. Michelle, obviously, with your long tenure there, can you think of some ways they've supported your career development?
Absolutely. I would say, from the very get-go, I was involved in employee networks at the bank. So, we have a vast majority of employee networks here where, just with my background, I'm a part of the OLA Enterprise Leadership Team. But, really from the beginning, I think as an agent on the phones, my team manager immediately was able to coach me very quickly, was able to say, okay, Michelle, well, what is your career goal? What are your goals for the next 6 months? And helping me prepare and think of 6-month, 1 year, 2 year goals. So at the beginning, it was doing that. And then there was the encouragement of mentorship programs. So there's mentorship programs all over Bank of America that you can raise your hand and be a part of as a mentee. So leaders absolutely encourage us to make sure that we reach out and we build not just one mentor, but build like a board of directors over time that can help teach you, can help guide you, and can also help facilitate as you're trying to move throughout your career, how they can help make those connections. So for me personally, I feel like they were instrumental in the development of my career. I mean, don't get me wrong, like you have to do a lot of that work yourself and you are self-driving a lot of this stuff, but they've been instrumental in just giving me the tools, and then I need to take those tools and I've had to act against them, or not against, but with them.
Yeah, or every once in a while against. Sometimes you got to go against them. That's fantastic, and I love that term, creating like a board of directors. That's really great. That's a really good. How about you, Tabitha? What, in your experience, what are some of the ways they've supported your development?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I definitely have to echo a little bit off of Michelle there. I think the leadership support is just instrumental to the success that I've accumulated over the years at Bank of America. I've had amazing leaders, and especially very many women leaders that have been very impactful to me throughout my career. So having to have those natural, mentorship connections between me and my direct leader has been completely instrumental to that success. But also the mentorships that happen, that the banks helped you set up through the employee networks, through leadership development programs. As Michelle said, it takes a lot of initiative on you as a person, but if you put in the work, you're definitely going to get a lot out of it. Another thing that I really think has been one of the most instrumental things to me with my career development is that career development doesn't just stop when the workday ends at Bank of America. So one thing was as I was getting comfortable in my career over the last couple of years, I had set a personal goal for myself to go back to school and obtain an MBA. And I was really ready for the work that it was going to take to achieve that MBA. But looking at the price tags of some of those degrees were a little bit daunting. But Bank of America did offer a really nice tuition reimbursement program that was able to kind of ease that financial burden from going back to school, and really helped me to make that goal of mine a reality at the end of the day. So the Bank of America really offers career development both at work and outside of work, and they really demonstrate how much they value your career development through that.
Wonderful experience. Thank you. How about for you, Angel?
Yeah, so in addition to Bank of America having so many opportunities to grow within the company, Bank of America is filled with leaders that are open and willing to assist in your growth and your development throughout, your tenure here at Bank of America, and so I really, really enjoy that is a part of the company. And then for myself, again, I started May of last year. About 9 months after that, I was nominated to be a certified OJT coach. So basically, helping with new hires and just being their coach and helping them through the new hire process, training, and of course getting on the phones, taking calls, things of that nature. So again, that was about 9 months into being hired on, and then after that. I, got upskilled into a different queue. So again, in home loans, there's the main call queue for, your main mortgage servicing calls. And then there are other queues that are a little bit more skill based. So things like property claims, bankruptcy, things of that nature. And so, I took on another training class to upskill to take on calls in that queue or whatever. And then about 3 months after that, I attended or was nominated to be a part of our emerging manager program. That program is basically you're partnered with a mentor who or their leaders already. So it was different team managers and different contact centers across, our line of business and home loans. We had business support managers, business support leads, things of that nature. And so you just were partnered with a mentor, and then they helped and worked with you through that program, which was about 2 months long. And so, Bank of America has so many opportunities for you to develop, for you to learn, for you to grow. And just to mention, I did just attend one of the OLA development sessions for building your personal brand. And so there's so many different sessions, so many different workshops that you can attend because, again, your career is continuing. It's continuous, and so you have all the tools like previously mentioned, and they're given to you. It's just up to you to take on those tools and use them to your benefit. And I can tell you from day one, our trainers were like, hey, there's opportunity to grow, right? You hear that everywhere you go. There's always an opportunity to grow, but at Bank of America, it truly is. And again, like I said, I started in May, and now I'm not an agent anymore. I'm a senior client service advocate, which I am right above the agent level. And so I'm here to help agents on my team now, while they're taking calls, I'll do escalations or, things of that nature. So again, Bank of America has a lot of opportunities to grow. You don't have to be here for, a year to necessarily move forward, so it's great.
Those people she's helped, they have their own personal angel. That's over. Don't worry, folks. She's heard them all. She's heard all the puns, all the jokes. Don't worry about it. Now, look, I want to pivot for a second. It's so fabulous to hear all these great things about Bank of America, and we'll hear a lot more great things. But we had a question from the audience. Lisa wants to know, what's the best way to move into customer service from another field? Like she gives the example of finance. How do you make a move like that?
I think I can jump in here from my previous experience. So as I stated earlier, I joined Bank of America after coming from the restaurant industry. So completely different from banking, customer service. I mean, there is a little bit of that customer service aspect in the restaurant industry, but a little bit different. I think the biggest thing is really just the transferable skills. So what have you learned from your career in finance? One thing that is very beneficial is that finance background. Banking and finance are very similar. So that does give you a little bit of that extra, background and knowledge from a banking industry to be able to help service those customers and understand a little bit more of the operations of the banking industry. So me personally, I think it's just you have to be willing to make that step and make that jump and just put in the work. And as long as you put in the work, especially at Bank of America, you're going to succeed regardless of what background you come from.
That's very good to know. Let me ask you as a follow-up to that, Tabitha, because obviously a part of this is the call centers. I think there's a lot of perception, maybe misperception from the average person off the street of what it's like to be in customer service, what it's like to work at a contact center. What insight can you give us? What misconceptions can you correct, especially for somebody who might be thinking of making that transition?
Yeah, I think one misconception is that you kind of just get thrown into it and you just are expected to just take a phone call and help a customer and address any questions, and you're probably reading from a script. But that's really not the case. There's a very intensive training program that goes into place for Bank of America. I do believe it's currently, at least in the contact centers, it's about a month long for just training, right? That doesn't even involve calls, training in general. And then you're not just thrown into those phone calls initially. You're going to take them a little bit through an OJT period where you're working with coaches. Sometimes those are going to be SCAs like Angel, who are going to step in and kind of help out when you get stuck on a call, to be able to help guide the associates through the problems. And that's about another 4 weeks or so of that on the job training, where you kind of have someone really holding your hand essentially and helping walk you through those calls and those difficult conversations and how to de-escalate. And I think that that's one of the biggest misconceptions, is that you're just thrown in, but you're definitely not. You are more than prepared, regardless of what background you come from, no matter where you've worked previously. You're going to be prepared and have the knowledge and the skill set to take that first call by yourself.
I think that's very good, because I think that's what a lot of people worry about. Hey, I'm in sales. I've done cold calls. I've done 101 cold calls a day. But yeah, if you told me to go into a contact center and then pick up the phone and answer instead of placing the call, I'd be nervous too. So I'm glad to hear there would be training. That's fantastic. Let's shift for a second away from the professional, more toward the personal. Don't worry, nobody's asking for PIN numbers or credit card numbers. I might ask for your mother's maiden name at some point. It's not a big deal. No, but all joking aside, let's talk about work-life balance, right? Over these last couple of years, who even knows what that means, right? Now we're finally getting to the point. President Biden recently said pandemic it's over, which I think a lot of people were about time to hear. What does work-life balance mean? If each one of you don't mind sharing a little bit about your approach to that and how that's kind of changed over time. Maybe, Angel, we can hear from you first.
Yeah, sure. So, it's very important to have a work-life balance. And I honestly, for myself, it's just to make sure that I don't burn out, and so with the pandemic and, again, like I said, it started last year in May. Our class started working from home. We were training from home. And so, everything's set up at home, just being at home all day. So at work, being at home outside of work, so again, it's very important to create that work-life balance. So for myself with training, you're in training, you're learning something new. There was always a time where, okay, I have my laptop here. I just want to look, at what we went over today. Again, that's working, out off the clock. So I had to ensure that, although this is here, it's available to me, I still need to make sure I have that balance. I create that, balance between my work and my life. And so I would just have to, reel it back in. Angel, you have training tomorrow, 8:00. You can look over it, tomorrow, things of that nature. So, it's just creating that balance and to make sure that I stick with it. And so instead of being in the house, on the weekends, because again, working, you're at work Monday through Friday. So you're outside of the house. And then the weekends, it's like, okay, I can run a few errands, but then I'm inside cleaning up, doing things of that nature. So, I kind of switch that around. So Monday through Friday, I'm at home working. And then on the weekends, I would, make sure I got out and went and did things, maybe go to the park, take a walk around the house, things of that nature. So.
That's fantastic. I like that idea of, because it's subtle, right? Like you said, I just wanted to check. You think it's for you. I just wanted to check on it. And the next thing you know, gone off the rail. How about you, Tabitha?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Work-life balance is so important, really, to make sure that you're able to bring your best self to work. You're not going to be your best if you're tired or you're overworked at the end of the day, but that balance definitely shifts a little bit as both your career progresses and your priorities at home change. So I personally feel that work-life balance was a lot easier and it came more naturally pre-pandemic, as there really was that separation from home and office. But as we shifted to the pandemic posture and transitioned to that work from home, as Angel's done most of her career, I initially found it very difficult to unplug and focus on home priorities because it was just so easy to check that email at 8 p.m. when you heard the alert because you left your laptop plugged in, and you're thinking, oh, I don't have to commute home today, so an extra 30 minutes at the end of the day, that's easy. I'm not commuting, so it's fine. But really one of the best practices I currently try to live by is really just to take a moment and take a break, even if it's just a couple minutes to get up, grab a snack, grab a cup of coffee, whatever it may be, to just move away from the computer for just a couple minutes, especially if I've been there for 6 hours already. It's just a good practice to get the blood flowing and kind of reset yourself. And that's a really good everyday practice. But I also can't stress enough how important it is to take time off. I think sometimes we get afraid of taking that week vacation because you don't know what you're going to come back to, or you're afraid that something's going to happen. They're going to need you while you're gone. But it's just important to remember they're going to be okay. They got it. And just to take that time to really unplug, relax, and just rest up and come back again, rejuvenated and refreshed.
Absolutely. You say to yourself, oh, what if they need me? Well, what happens if you work at a place and you can't take a vacation for a week without it burning down? That's probably not the most stable place to work at anyway. You want to work at a place that you can go away for a little bit, we'll be all right, as you say, Tabitha. Now, Michelle, you, a teenager to boot, and the pandemic.
Yeah.
So you tell us about work-life balance.
Well, I will say it's probably one of my biggest struggles, and I think that my husband and children would probably say the exact same thing. I think it's not a balancing act. I think what I heard always from one of my mentors, but it's going to be a seesaw all the time, where you're going to have to be able to give and take. And I think what Tabitha said was spot on in being able to take the breaks and the vacations that you need. But what I've had to do in my career, especially when things with a pandemic, because I supported a lot of that pandemic effort on how we provide support to our clients. So what can we do to help our clients? Myself and my team were part of the team that actually built that for small business. So it was a very challenging time, but I will say, what I've done for myself and communicated to my senior leadership team where these are pieces that are very important to me. So for example, I did mention I've got 2 teenagers, both of them play sports, and they both are playing fall sports. So, I've committed to saying I'm going to get to every game if I can for them, because the senior, this is the last time I'll probably see him playing soccer. So I need to do whatever I can do to manage and balance my schedule, the things that are expected to me in the office, so that if it is 3:30 in the afternoon and I have to go at 3:30 in the afternoon, I feel comfortable that I can leave. And maybe I'll come back and later on in the evening, I'll finish up what I was doing. But to me, I really had to set very hard goals and structure for myself, made sure I communicated what those are to my leadership team and and the team that I manage, to say, hey, this is what's important for me. And then also it's taking the vacation and the time. We're given vacation here, and you need the time and the mental break to be able to walk away. I think a day here, a day there, that's good and that's great, but it doesn't do it for you. I think those week-long vacations where you literally can unplug and not worry about your job, that's really, I think, what brings you back and being rejuvenated, if you will.
That's it. That's incredible. Those fall sports that keep you coming and going. A friend of mine, he's got 2 kids, younger, not teenagers, but I don't know how many they can play all these games. How many games kids play over the course of a 3-day weekend? As many as you can count. It's incredible. I've heard that term multiple times from you. Unplug. I'm going to say to the audience who's listening, in the comment section, you chop in some of the ways you like to unplug. So the things you like to do that helps you feel like you really got away from work and you're really recharging yourself. All right. We're about halfway through. Don't forget to also put your questions in the comments, because as you ask them, we start bringing them in and we get these 3 to really weigh in. And we've gotten some dynamite answers so far. This is all well and good conceptually. But if you work for a company that doesn't support you this, what does it matter? So talk to us about what Bank of America does, what resources they provide that helps you to make sure you're prioritizing unplugging like this. Let's start with, you know what, Michelle, why don't you pick the thread up and then we'll hear from Tabitha and Angel.
Yeah, sure. So resources that I have to think about this one. I mean, I think we already mentioned the importance of vacation, right? So when you're hired at the company, once you work a specific amount of time, you are provided vacation time. So that's one. And you're encouraged that you need to take the vacation time, and you're reminded to take the vacation time to make sure that you're getting that time to unplug. Other resources that provide help, I think for me, throughout the time is making sure that I know what resources I've had to utilize. So I also have an aging mother. So my father passed away, unfortunately, like 13 years ago. So in my life, I not only have two teenagers, but I have an elderly mom that requires some adult supervision, not all the time, but there's been periods in her life that I've needed additional support. And we have support at Bank of America where we can call in and talk to somebody about this is what's occurring. I need to get additional support for my mom. What resources can you give to me to help in a way? And when I think of prioritizing my well-being, it's because I'm trying to figure out what I can do for my mom. It's not like I can place her in a daycare or I can place her in school. But what do we have here? What type of agencies does the bank have where I can utilize them to help me with my mom, which in turn helps me with my own well-being because I'm trying to balance, life, work, my mom, my kids. It can be very challenging, but those are the two things that I think in the most recent probably 12 months that I've really pulled on and have absolutely helped me tremendously.
Thank you for sharing, especially those personal details. It really helps to round out. And Tabitha, how about you? What are some of the resources you've taken advantage of?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely have to echo a little bit off of Michelle there. I think those free counseling sessions that the bank offers are absolutely instrumental. Anytime you have something that comes up in your life that you really just need some advice or just someone to vent to and just to let it all out, it's there and it's available. And I think that's so important and so amazing that the bank offers that service for the employees to be able to have someone to talk to, but to not really to continue repeating the benefit that Michelle just went through. One thing that I am really excited for that I haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of yet, but I will be soon, is the bank's maternity leave. So in January, I will be able to get 16 weeks off for maternity leave that I'm really looking forward to. I think it's such an amazing benefit that the bank offers to both mothers and fathers to be able to take that time and really get integrated into your new life with a brand new baby. Everything's changing in your life, and there's a lot that goes into childbirth. So 16 weeks is absolutely amazing to have that time to both recover and then still be able to come back refreshed and recharged and ready to get back to work and able to get back to work without the stress and the worries of what am I going to do with my child? You have that time to be able to really put a plan into place and get everything organized before you have to start worrying about work again. So while I haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of it yet, I will be, and I'm just so excited. And it's just amazing that it's such a great benefit that the bank offers.
That is fantastic. That's 16 weeks going on. That is fantastic. How about you, Angie? What have you taken advantage of?
So honestly, I have not taken advantage of anything. I have not, I've just been fortunate enough not to have to, take advantage of the resources. I do know that they are there and available. And they're there to offer not only job security, but they're there to offer, that mental stability. Like, I have to leave work. I have to take a leave, and it's like, can I? I ran out of sick time. Is there something that the bank can, do to support me? And again, those resources are available, and it's so many of them. And again, fortunate enough not to have to, use them as of yet. But I feel very good knowing that, they are there, and it's a lot. It's an abundance of them. for different situations and things of that nature. So again, job stability and security, and that mental stability there to reassure you, you have a job when you come back, you can take that personal leave that you need to take, and then just put your mind at ease.
Well, you're right. It's good that you haven't had maybe some of these harsher circumstances, but at least the PTO, at least take advantage of the PTO, right? And there's always a good reason. Take a day, or as Michelle said, a whole week. That's always great. All right, let's talk about yous again. We talked about Bank of America. We love it. But let's get back to the three of yous. I want to hear about your career. I know that there's things that you've done that you're very, very proud of. Maybe let's specifically, remember earlier we was asking about moving into customer success. What's a career move that you made that you're proud of? Whether it was into customer success or it's any other kind of career move that you made, right? Do you mind kicking us off, Tabitha?
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, making the jump into contact center leadership is really the career move that I'm honestly most proud of. Because if you remember back in that time of my career, I wasn't really sure that this is what I wanted to do. I had only been an associate for about a year at that moment in time. And the opportunity was presented to, hey, do you want to become a leader? Do you want to have your own team? And I really kind of was taken aback by it at first and wasn't sure it was exactly what I wanted it to do or even that I was ready to do it. But making that step and coming into leadership within the contact center and customer service, I think really has set me up for success and is what helped me to be able to go from the contact center and customer service to social media to my current role in executive response and we can deliver. And, I'm no longer a direct leader, so I don't have direct reports anymore, but I have that indirect leadership as a business support manager. So a lot of the transferable skills that I've learned from being a direct leader has really taught me how to lead indirectly as well. So if I didn't take that initial step in the contact center of really becoming just a contact center team manager, I don't know that I would have gotten to where I am today. So that honestly is the career move that I'm most proud of and so thankful that I decided to take.
That's definitely a move to be very proud of. Congratulations, that's wonderful. How about you, Michelle? 20 plus years, but I know there's a lot of moves.
Yeah. So I'm going to take it slightly in a different direction. So I think that the move that was most instrumental to me was actually when I decided to leave our client services team. So I mentioned that I started on the phone as a representative. I had several different leadership roles throughout that whole 5-year tenure that I was there. But it got to a point where it's like, okay, what is my next step? So my manager was like, okay, what do you want to do now, Michelle? And really at the time, that was a big decision. And it was to say, well, do I continue in my upward trajectory here, where it's a little bit more safe? People know who I am. I'm an expert in my craft. But I decided that I really wanted to expand and I wanted to jump out. And I actually left client services and I went to our product organization. And that is really where we own the product development, the marketing of all of the products that we offer to our clients. And so I, again, was small. I was focused on credit cards specifically, and I owned a portfolio of credit card relationships. And that taught me so much. So I knew how to service the clients. I knew what clients are asking from us. I know what they wanted, but how then do you in turn and develop a product that they need, that it gives them the right features and benefits? How do we get it into their hands so that they can utilize it and, how's it marketed to them? So I really took a leap of faith saying, all right, I'm going to go into uncharted territory, something that I don't know anything about. Again, didn't know anything about marketing, analytics, any of that. But I knew I had the passion and the drive because I wanted to understand that piece of this business. So that was the biggest piece. And I really sat within the product organization for I was for the rest of my career. And I moved from kind of product to product and managing different things before, I ended up coming back. But that one I think was integral change in my career. It was a step that made me feel very uncomfortable. It definitely was very risky, but I absolutely loved it.
Those are the best ones where it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. There's that risk, but then when you look back, you say it was worth it. It was worth it. How about you, Angel?
For myself, it would be coming into the contact center, honestly. So previously, 7 years in working in the actual financial center, so actual banking center, 7 years. So that customer service transferred over to the contact center, and it was just taking that step to move on because I wanted something different. Again, was in the financial center for about 7 years, had done pretty much every single role that can be done in the financial center. So it was just like, at this point, I need a little bit more. So I moved on to the contact center. And again, been here for about a year, a little over a year now. And I already see a lot of different moves that I can make or that I'm interested in making. So, if there's this opportunity again in the future, I definitely would be able to say, hey, I took that career move and decided to do, whatever it was I decided to do, what have you. So it's just moving from that financial center to the contact center in home loans.
This is fantastic. I'm so glad to hear this because, Fairygodboss, as the largest career community for women, we learn a lot about women's behaviors. And one of the things that we notice is sometimes women have a little bit of trouble bragging about themselves. And let's call it what sometimes you got to brag about yourself. Sometimes you got to stand up and say, look at the great things I've done, the risks I've taken, how it's paid off. Sometimes you have to because it encourages other people. It encourages yourself, right? You hear yourself tell it out loud and you think, what was I so afraid of? And why would I be afraid of another risk? Because I realize the great things that have come. So thank you. Sharing this kind of experience, this is really good. I think it's good for the audience. I'll ask, it could be work related or it could even just be personal. Anybody else want to share some other thing they're very proud of in their life, their career, personal?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share. So 2012, father passed away. Of course, had been to funerals prior to that. I was about 25 then. But never in a million years did I think at the age of 25 I would be going to my dad's funeral, And so we were very, very close. And at that point in life, it was like that was a very hard knock to the ground, like I plummeted. Can't even lie to you guys. Was in school at that time, and I couldn't do it no more. I had to, take a break and stop. Literally dropped out of school. But for myself, I can say that I'm very proud that I went back. Again, he passed in 12, went back, graduated, got my bachelor's in 14. So I just wanted to share that piece of, my story because, it's very important to me. I could have chosen not to go back and just continue down that path, but I just, had to, life goes on, not to say it like that, but life does go on, and I know that he would definitely want me to, finish school. So that's what I went back into.
Thank you. That's a beautiful story. That's a beautiful story. I love Tabitha and Michelle. I love to hear you, but also I'll say to the audience, if you have something you're very proud of, please share it with us, personal or professional. We want to hear it from the audience too. But Tabitha, it sounds like you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I definitely agree. I think sometimes as women, it is very hard to kind of brag on yourself because you just feel that it's not, no one cares or whatever it may be that's holding you back. I definitely have learned to brag on myself a lot. But I mean, honestly, the one of the biggest accomplishment that I'm personally proud of, and I know I mentioned it earlier, so maybe I'm learning that it's okay to brag sometimes, is obtaining that MBA. Especially during the pandemic. So it was mid-pandemic when I made the decision to go back to school and obtain an MBA, and work was very busy at that moment in time. It was really crazy. A lot of different things were going on. So the thought of adding extra work on top of my regular work was a little bit crazy at that moment in time, but I'm super proud that I was able to really just put my head down, get it done, and graduate.
Congratulations. Michelle, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say my work around diversity and inclusion. So, I mentioned that I speak Spanish. So both of my parents are from Cuba. They're Cuban exiles. I was born in the United States, um, and lucky and very happy to be here. But as part of, you know, I think my history or my legacy or whatever it'll be here at Bank of America, I'm very proud of all of the work that I've done with the Hispanic and Latino organization here, OLA, and specifically is being able to make sure that people have mentors that they can look up to. I know for me, when I joined the company, trying to look at executives and saying, where's a Latina like me up there? Who can I emulate? Who can I talk to? Who can help me? There wasn't a ton 25 years ago when you look at it. Now, much better representation, but we still have so much more to go. But throughout my career, I've always tried to be a mentor. I've always tried to provide additional guidance and any type of support. Like anybody that says, hey, can you be my mentor? Sure, I will be your mentor. And I have a great list of people that I like to support. But I feel like at the end of the day, whether it's professionally, whether it's personally, I'm really trying to focus on, what is my legacy? What am I leaving behind? What would I have needed and who helped pull me through to get me to where I am today? So for me, a couple of years ago, I guess it was a year ago, I got the Diversity Inclusion Award, one of the award winners here at the bank. I think it's less than 200 people receive it per year, but it was a recognition of here's all of the work that you've done internally with OLA, your mentors as well, but then being part of the OLA enterprise leadership team, I drive and have co-ownership of strategy. So what is it that we're doing, not only for all of the Hispanic and Latinos in the company from a development perspective, what are we doing to support the communities that we all live and serve in for that Hispanic and Latino community? And then how do we share that with all of the other employee networks that we have here at the bank, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's the, any of the other organizations, we're sharing amongst each other because we know together from a diversity perspective, we're only stronger. So that's my big, I think what I'm proud about and what I try to remember and give back is that. Give back to my community, give back to the people of the bank that were just like me.
That's wonderful. That's fantastic to hear. As somebody my ancestors were Puerto Rican, so as somebody part of the Latin community, I love to hear that. I love to see that. Thank you so much for doing that and supporting the community like that. This has been fantastic. Thank you all so much, but we have a little bit of time left. So here's what I want to do with the last question I want to ask each one of you. Because we love giving advice. We love giving tips. Sometimes, though, it's even more fun if we can give ourselves a tip. So I want you to think back, and I want you to tell young Angel, young Tabitha, young Michelle, I want you to give them advice on what they can do to make sure that they meet with the great success that you've met with. What would you say to young Angel?
Honestly, I would just say, make all the mistakes that you can, learn from those mistakes. I would have definitely taken advantage of, having mentorship, at a younger age, starting out, at those positions that you started out as, working at your local Old Navy or, things of that nature when you're younger, and just having a mentor at that point in time, I think that that would have helped a lot, get me to where I am now. But yeah, just make the mistakes that you can at that point in time, learn from those mistakes, and just grow from them really and truly, and just be open to change, and be open to getting that feedback whenever it's there for you, and not only waiting for the feedback but also looking for it. Get with your direct supervisor, your direct manager or leader, and say, hey, if you, and for myself, and I do this sometimes as well, if there was an adjective or 2 or 3 adjectives that you would describe me as, or my work ethic as, what are they? If there were opportunities that you see that we can definitely dive into and help fix or what have you, what are those opportunities that you see in me? Things of that nature. What are my strengths? So just being proactive really and truly, and reaching out to whomever you see as a mentor, or whoever is your leader at this point in time, just to get that feedback to see, what can I do better, what can I work on, and be open to that feedback.
That's wonderful. I love that. It's always fun to tell your younger self to make mistakes. Like they didn't know they didn't realize they were making them, but they didn't realize they were allowed to. Michelle or Tabitha, either one of you want to give advice to your younger self?
Yeah, I can go next. I would say take risks. So that's a little bit like Angel said about make mistakes. So take the risks and believe in yourself. Because I think there's sometimes, like I shared, how I took one big risk and it paid off a lot for me. But I think in life, I am a little bit more risk averse and I'm more, I haven't always had the confidence in myself to do that or do something. So I would say younger in my career, like, gosh, like you should have known and done that better at that point in time.
That's wonderful. Tabitha?
Absolutely. So, if I could give my younger self one piece of advice, I would have to say that it's okay to ask questions. So, earlier on in my career, I was very introverted, still are a little bit on the personal side. But early on in my career, I was always afraid that if I asked a question, it meant that I didn't have the answer. And while that's true, I always thought that people would see a problem with that. But now throughout my career, I've learned that it's okay to not know the answer and it's okay to ask questions. It's actually important to ask questions to make sure that you understand and can have clarity as to whatever presentation's happening, whatever you're learning, whatever it may be. I ask so many questions every day now. I'm not afraid to do it. I know that it's okay. And it's honestly amazing how much I still learn every day just because I'm brave and okay with asking those questions.
That's excellent. Making some mistakes, taking a little risk and believing in yourself, asking questions because you don't have all the answers. These are great, great pieces of advice. I'm going to follow Tabitha's and ask one last question. I heard tell that Bank of America has some very good associate engagement programs. And I would want to know, if I was there at Bank of America, what's an associate engagement program that I should engage with because a lot of people love to use it?
I can hop in here really quickly. So there are definitely a ton of different employee engagement programs. So I think we've touched on a couple of them throughout, specifically the employee networks. So we have, I don't know the number, but it is probably at least 10 or more, 11 employee networks across the bank. There are some that are dedicated to your specific region. There are also some that are virtual that take place over the, entire US. There's some that even expand into other countries, India, across the board. So those employee networks are integral to employee engagement at Bank of America. So each of the employee networks offer a lot of their own mentorship programs. They offer a lot of their own networking events. They offer just a lot of different training and resources that you can do to be able to network with not only people within your own market, but in other states across the world. So one thing we always do whenever we get new people to the bank is we encourage them to look at the employee networks and join one, join two, join them all if you want, because they're all going to offer you a little bit of something different. And you can really pick and choose how you want to get engaged, and you can get engaged as much as you want. Because there's going to always be something going on across all the different networks. And I know Michelle touched on it a lot, but like even Ola, they do so many different things. And it's not just for our Hispanic and Latino members. Anyone can join. And that's one thing that's amazing about the bank is it's fully inclusive. So if you want to join Ola, you can join it. It doesn't matter if you want to join our Disability Action Network, you can join that. It's whatever you want to do, you can make the most out of it.
It's important because every group needs allies as well, not just those people who identify as part of that group. They need people who aren't identifying as part of that group, but are there, we're going to support, right? Give their time and attention and support. That is very important. Thank you three so much. Angel, Michelle, Tabitha, it has been incredible to hear about your career journeys And it's been incredible to hear about all the great things that are going on at Bank of America. That is fantastic. You know, you made a role, customer service, that I think a lot of people are nervous about. You made it sound so enjoyable, exciting, inviting, engaging. It's really, really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your stories, your perspective. I want to say to everybody who is listening, Aaliyah and Gabby and Valentina and Kathleen and Sabrina and Wanda and everybody else from all across the country, all across the world, thank you all so much for your comments, for your questions, for sharing your experiences. As a reminder, this has all been recorded, and we'll send an email to everybody so you can watch it again. And also, we'd love to hear back from you. If you're a part of this, help us make sure that every single one of these events are good. Every time one of our good friends like Bank of America sponsors a webinar like this, we want to make sure everybody has a good experience, right? So please go to the Typeform tab and share your thoughts with us so we can keep making the best webinars we can. Again, Angel, Tabitha, Michelle, you three stars of the show, thank you so much. Anything last thing you want to say, please share with the crowd.
No, just thank you so much for having us. I think I speak for all three of us when I say it's been a pleasure being able to come on and tell you for each of our stories and really talk and tell everyone about our stories at Bank of America.
Thank you all so much. We are going to see everybody very soon. Everyone enjoy the rest of the week. Stay safe out there. I know the weather's been a little bit nuts, so everybody stay safe. But thank you all. We'll see you all again soon. Bye, everybody.